Good morning to the Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, radio listeners via St. Martin Gov Radio 1079 FM and other respective radio stations island-wide. I am Charity Dunker, and welcome to the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, March 24th, 2021. At this time, I'd like to invite the Honorable Prime Minister and the Minister of General Affairs, Silveria Jacobs, to address you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to you, Miss Charity Dunker. Good morning to my colleagues in the press briefing this morning. Of course, the members of the media, people of St. Martin. I am happy to start first this morning as I announced to the press briefing team that I do have a meeting with the Prefet this morning and therefore won't be able to remain in the press briefing. However, I would want to make some opening remarks, and any questions that are still pending would be then sent to my PR staff. Thank you for allowing me to go first, colleagues and people of St. Martin. As you know, yesterday we celebrated Treaty of Concordia Day. On Saturday, it started with the, let's call it, dialogues between the Youth Territorial Council and the St. Martin Youth Parliament. This high quality dialogue between our youths on both sides of the island was rich and exciting and has definitely gotten the attention of many around the island. I must reiterate though that this is not the first of such dialogues. It is a yearly ongoing collaboration between the two youth departments on French and Dutch St. Martin. So I would like to congratulate both teams for a job well done, congratulate the youth leaders of both Dutch and French St. Martin who collaborate every year, all through the year, to ensure that our youth, those that have been chosen by their organizations and schools, to be updated, to be guided, to get the necessary research, to understand the content of the topics that they discuss. The two young presidents of both bodies gave their suggestions, a recommendation by both entities to myself as well as to the president of the collectivité, President Daniel Gibbs. At the end of that ceremony, we congratulated them on the quality of their exchanges, and I must say that their advice falls completely in line with the vision of our governments to harmonize our common goals as much as possible. And I assured them, as I did yesterday morning on Concordia Hill, on the 373rd anniversary of the 1648 Treaty, yesterday, that their recommendations will not fall on deaf ears, and the task force that we will both appoint will also be getting that document to go along in terms of ensuring that their voice is heard. And when we do our stakeholder consultations moving forward, they will of course also play a role. So I'm very proud of the fact that the vision that together since 2017-18 with Madame Damaso, who is the first vice president in charge of culture. Back then I was also Minister of Culture, and even though the treaty is one of the national celebrations, Culture Department always collaborates with the Ministry of General Affairs in the collaboration and celebration thereof. So back then we already envisioned, and I think people can remember, that we wanted the St. Martin Day celebration to be just a cultural celebration of 37 square miles, not necessarily highlighting the separation of nationalities, but celebrating our oneness. And to put the Treaty of Concordia Day, March 23rd, as a day that we highlight the unique cooperations governmentally, etc., looking at the two flags and in fact the four flags that signify our constitutional status. As such, that's why it's very important to see that there is collaboration throughout. Our health services, the ARS and our CPS meet on a weekly basis to coincide and collaborate. Our immigration, our health services, I mentioned already, tourism, also culture, youth and sport, and now also even our finances. Also on Saturday, I must reiterate that the Coast Guard open house was a good one, and I encourage all youth to go out there and ensure that you're making use of every opportunity available to you on St. Martin. I congratulate the women of the Coast Guard who show up greatly and who are making sure that they receive equal treatment. We are rounding off Women's Month, and I will continue to honor women as long as the names come forth, even after March. Continue to send in your recommendations. I honor all women who are out there making a difference in the world, because as you know, where there is woman, there is magic. Last but not least, I would like to say that indeed, before I go to that part, the COVID-19 vaccine is still being distributed. All residents of St. Martin are encouraged to register online at stmartingov.org/coronavirus. We are also collaborating with our French counterparts to make sure as many people on the island completely are vaccinated. This is to ensure that we can get back to normal, and I'm very happy that we are making forward movement in our progress in protecting our community. Do continue to practice the safeguards that we have put in place. Ensure that you are remaining safe when you're out in public, and of course, have a high level of hand hygiene when meeting and greeting others. Now for, I'm sure, what is considered the news of the day. On Friday last, I was in Parliament as scheduled to update on what had started in March 1st, was on the country package. Many would know that there was a lot of discussion on the floor of Parliament back then as to why the agenda had changed. And my statement then and now remained that the COHO was not at a state to be developed or to be debated at Parliament. The COHO, as you know, and our agreement in on December 22nd was that we would agree to receive liquidity support, start the process for the country packages, and allow the trajectory towards the COHO to continue. And I think that is where some of the people of St. Martin have been misled by the opposition, as well as others with their own agendas. People of St. Martin, the trajectory is as follows. Once a law goes from the Kingdom Council of Ministers to the Council of State, the Raad van State, for advice, it remains there until that advice comes back. Once that advice comes back to the kingdom, not the kingdom, but the government that submitted it, in this case, the Netherlands, it is in this case a consensus law. It has to be shared with the other governments. So the process is started for the review based on the Council of State's advice. Up until Friday morning, St. Martin and the other Caribbean countries had not received that advice. I reiterated on the floor of Parliament that I just received it. Based on the law, our kingdom law, we are only allowed to share this at Parliament publicly and debate once it has gone through the process of giving the advice towards the NADA report, which is the further report to the advice to the Kingdom of, and submitting it to the Kingdom Council of Ministers. Once the Kingdom Council of Ministers sends it to the second chamber, then it becomes public debate. So that process is not yet there. We agreed to follow the trajectory to get to that process. We agreed in our 4-country discussion on Thursday that we would handle it internally in terms of 4 governments coming together, forming a task force to prepare the process to answer the concerns and the criticisms of the Council of State. It is uncanny that people would think that this is being deliberately secretive. This is part of the law. This is what happens with every law. And it is a normal procedure. As such, I did not have the full picture on Friday morning. However, I am still discussing with my counterparts in Aruba and Curacao on how we will form our teams to start the discussion. That it has been leaked or the news has been revealed as to what the exact advice is from in the Netherlands, in The Hague, for that matter, in the news briefings, is not my responsibility. That this information is now widely available only highlights that the concerns, the very strong concerns that we have had from day one with this law is validated. That is as far as I would go at this point. Right now, as countries, we have the opportunity to sit at the table and come to a true consensus. As you know, government of St. Martin was the only government that put forth a counter proposal. An entity, yes, that would monitor and support the countries in the reforms that we want, that we determine, without the excessive powers of the entity as had been proposed. This is nothing new. We have been talking about this since July of 2020. And up until December, when there was absolutely no other option financially for St. Martin, we had no choice but to agree for St. Martin also to be taken up into that consensus law with certain questions, with certain recommendations, with also the promise that after the Council of State's advice, adjustments can be made. This is where we are now. We have a unique opportunity to right what has been wronged by sitting together and ensuring that all of the authorities that we felt were erroneous and now based on what has been publicly put forth in the Netherlands shows that we were right as countries, that our authorities are being undermined with this original proposal, and that the only way we can move forward if these things are rectified. That is the trajectory we agreed to, and that is the one we will continue to follow. I'm hoping by this statement that it is clearer to the people of St. Martin that they are not deterred by negative statements made by persons who would seek to undermine government. Government has been, and I in particular have been, extremely transparent with the people of St. Martin, extremely transparent, even having Zoom meetings while in the Netherlands with the Parliament to ensure that they were updated while I was there. I received the mandate of 13 out of the 14 members of Parliament in December to proceed with the trajectory to realize the COHO. We are now in that trajectory at the juncture where government gets to have a say in the necessary changes that would mean it is acceptable to us, and we would like the opportunity to do so. Parliament will have its turn to debate this publicly once it is returned to, or it is sent on to the second chamber and the other parliaments. And I look forward to that debate, but I am quite sure that if and when it gets there, it will be completely different from what had been sent initially. Our Council of Advice on St. Martin has also rendered an advice. So I would like to inform the people of St. Martin that a team of legal and political experts is being put together to assess these two advices and advise government moving forward. And as soon as we are legally allowed to share such information, we will do so. But I ask that you trust that this Prime Minister, who has stood for the people of St. Martin, amidst all of the negativity since June, July of last year, will not deter from the path that will lead to a better St. Martin, whereby we have the reforms in place that we need, but that they are done with mutual respect and understanding, and as well as we maintaining all the authorities that we have as a constituent state of the Kingdom of the Netherlands. I'm hoping that I have totally explained this. I am very, very sorry that I'm not able to remain for further questions. But what I will do is, in the course of this week, if necessary, hold another press conference whereby we will invite the press to ask any questions if necessary. So I look forward to being able to share that, or I have my other platform as well with Prime Minister Talks, whereby, or even government website with Cedric on Inside Government. Any platform that is available to me, I will use to ensure that the people of St. Martin understand the trajectory we are on as a country. And I believe that St. Martin, Curacao, and Aruba has been validated, and together we are stronger in coming to a consensus that can suit the islands of the Caribbean. Thank you, Charity. Thank you, colleagues and members of the media, people of St. Martin. Until next time, That will be all for this morning.
Thank you, Prime Minister Jacobs, for your opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to invite the Minister of Justice, Anna Richardson, to address you. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Prime Minister, colleague ministers, Ms. Dunker, the DCOM, the press, and the viewing and listening audience. As so said by the Prime Minister, we have been celebrating the month of March as Women's Month, and indeed a special recognition to all young women who attended the Coast Guard Recruitment Day last Saturday, March 20th, 2021. The Recruitment Day was a grand success with over 70 interested attendees and more than 50% of those attendees completing an application to join the Coast Guard. On behalf of the captain, management of the Coast Guard, and my person as Minister of Justice, thank you to one and all for attending and not allowing the heavy downpour of rain to deter you. I bid each of you success, and I hope that you are successful to the end. With regards to immigration matters, I bring a short notice from the Department of Immigration and Border Protection Services. All persons who have applied for residency and has not yet been in contact with the IBP department, please send an email to immigration@stmartingov.org. The department has quite a number of uncollected permits, and despite numerous attempts to get in contact with applicants, the department has been unsuccessful. As such, the management of IBP is asking applicants to please make contact with the department. IBP management is concerned that persons believe that because they have applied for a permit automatically means that they are in good standing and there's no need to have the physical document in their possession. That is incorrect, and as such, the IBP management is urging everyone to who knows that they have applied for permits to please get in contact with the department via the email I've mentioned. This is applicable as well to companies and agencies that are submitting or have submitted applications for persons. And as well, I mentioned in the last press briefing that there are issues with the phone line. So if you are calling and you're unable to get in contact, please use the email that I've indicated, immigration@stmartingov.org. That's all for now, Ms. Dunker, and I remain available for any questions the media may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister of Justice Anna Richardson, for your opening remarks. At this time, I'd like to invite the Honorable Minister of Public Health, Social Development, and Labor to join us, the Honorable Richard Panofleck, to address you. Good morning.
Good morning, Ms. Dunker. Good morning. Good morning to my dear colleagues, the members of the media, and the listening public of St. Martin. For today, press briefing, I would first like to highlight the COVID-19 situation locally. As of March 23rd, CPS is reporting 21 active cases, 43 persons in quarantine, and an overall of 2,108 confirmed cases since the pandemic started. I want to take this opportunity to address what is currently unfolding on our sister islands. The ABC, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao are currently dealing with research of COVID-19 cases due to the UK variant as cause of concern. While we have had reports of the variant of the French side of the island, CPS continue to conduct surveillance and additional variants circulating on the Dutch side. I would like to ask some extra attention on this point. Why are we bringing over what is happening in Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao? This is to show that the world is all interconnected. And we have to be very careful in the way we go about our daily life to make sure that we do our best to avoid infesting others through improper behavior. As you well know, right now the UK variant is not only detrimental and bad for those of higher age. We see right now out of the figures that the younger ones right now are affected by this variant, and are even, like in Curacao, in ICU units. So please adhere to the protocols that has been set out for you. With our borders open, we have managed to keep our cases under control and hospital admissions have been minimal. I'm calling on everyone to continue to be responsible and follow the public health measures, which will keep our cases at a manageable level. We are now in the 5th week of our vaccination campaign, and I'm delighted to report that after deliberations with our counterpart in the Kingdom yesterday, it was decided that the Dutch Caribbean territories can roll out vaccination to the general public. That means from 18 and up. This decision will have a positive impact on our campaign, as there were many individuals who signed up to receive the vaccination that were not yet eligible based on the priority groupings. The ministry, together with the vaccine management team, will ensure that all persons who are registered get vaccinated. I'm encouraging the public to register for the vaccine through our online portal or by visiting select locations to pick up a paper registration form. Paper forms are located at the Government Administration Building, all doctors' offices, at CPS and pharmacies, to the Community Health Desk in Dutch Quarter and Cold Bay, and the vaccination location at CPS and Bel Air can also accommodate persons who would like to register directly at each location. For any question or concern, please call CPS at 914 or email vaccination@stmartengov.org. That is vaccination@stmartengov.org. Let us join together to get vaccinated to keep St. Martin healthy and safe for our population. Please, as the youngsters are coming forward and register to get vaccinated, bring along the seniors also so that they can also be vaccinated. As a family, we get vaccinated, we will make St. Martin safe. God bless you and God bless St. Martin. Thank you very much, Ms. Donker.
Thank you very much, Minister Panafleck, for your opening remarks. I've received notice that the Minister of Finance, Minister of TIAT, and Minister of ROMI are all present this morning, however, will not be making any opening remarks, but will be available for any questions members of the media may have. At this time, we'll turn over to the question and answer session, where I'll invite Ms. Bibi Shah of SMN News to join in. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Charity. Good morning, ministers. Good morning, colleagues. My question, I will direct it to the Minister of ROMI, Mr. Egbert Doran. Good morning, Minister. Good morning, Minister. I meant to ask you this question since last week, but I gave you a little bit of time. Can you at least give us some updates on the decisions government has taken regarding NVGEBE? Minister, last week I got word that a secretary who have worked for GEBE for a number of years have been suspended until further notice. The information I'm getting, Minister, is troubling, that there's some sort of witch hunting taking place by the current management of GEBE. And besides that, on Monday, there were 15 hours or more of power outages in at least one area on the island. Can you give us some information, not only on the decisions government has taken, but where are we with the process?
Good morning, Ms. Donker. Good morning, colleague ministers, members of the media, and especially good morning to the people of St. Martin. To touch on your first point, Bibi, regarding a staff member of GB, of course, you know, I do not get involved in terms of the operations and staffing issues. So that is something I would suggest that they take up with the HR and see how they reach with that specific case. Regarding the appointment of new management, a decision was taken in the Council of Ministers a couple of weeks ago with respect to the appointee of new management, given the current circumstances with the previous appointees and that is taking place. The process is going through. So as soon that there is more information and information that is be able to share with the public, that will be shared with the public. And you asked the last question regarding the power outages. I did receive several complaints a couple of days ago as well, and I'm waiting a report from the temporary management with respect to what took place and how we can avoid such situations taking place in the future. I hope that answers your questions.
Charity, can I get a follow-up?
Yes, you may. Proceed.
Yes. Minister, how soon do we expect the appointment of the new team? Like you mentioned, the decision was taken, the process is on its way. How soon do we expect that?
Well, given the fact that the process is reliant on third parties, I cannot stick a timeline to it. However, I would say within the next 2 weeks, I would have more concrete information and would be able to share that with the members of the media. Of course, we know a screening also has to take place, and that is out of my control to determine how long that will take.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Minister Duran, and thank you, Bibi. Moving on to Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. You have the floor. Good morning. Unmute your mic, and also we'd like to have you visually join us as well. Turn on your camera, Lyndon.
Yeah, the camera is on. My camera is on. I'm seeing myself. It's on.
Okay, we're not seeing you, Lyndon.
Yeah, my camera is on.
We will follow up with you. And
no. My camera is off now. My camera is on again.
Okay, can you mute yourself, please, Lyndon? We will deal with this behind the scenes as we'll proceed with Dr. Sock of Island 92. Good morning to you, Dr. Sock, and welcome.
Good morning, Charity. Thank you so much for the kind welcome. If I might start with a question for Minister Irian. Minister, last week it was announced that Moody's had downgraded our bond rating, our credit rating. What does that mean? What does that mean for the average St. Martiner on the street? And what are we going to do to make sure that we don't see further downgrades in our rating with Moody's and the other agencies for that matter? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you for your question, Dr. Sock. In regards to Moody's and our conversation with them, this request for Moody's started, I believe, in 2018, 2019 by a previous government. So it isn't that Moody's came on their own and decided to do a rating. It was a request of a previous government according to what was stated by them. And it had to do at a time with looking at airport financing and so forth. And even in the conversations with them, they basically say, since St. Martin does not borrow money on the outside market, on the international market, in essence, the rate, how should I say? The rating isn't as significant as for a country that does borrow on the outside market, because we borrow within the kingdom and so forth. What was a bit confusing for them was understanding the relationship with Holland and, let's say, the discussions that we were having last year in regards to the bond loan and so forth. And in particular, at the time, they were concerned that if we didn't get an agreement, that we would not be able to repay the loan from the Netherlands. So that was the main thing at that time, and they didn't get a clear answer as to what will happen. Will we come to an agreement and so forth? And once we can show that we have an agreement in place, and since then we already have an agreement for the loan from last year, so that's already a big difference already. And once we can show either an alternative financing or that we have an agreement with the Netherlands on financing and so forth, the rating should be fine. And improved.
I have to, there seemed to be some connection to the downgrade in relationship to the recent petition that was submitted to the UN, which further indicates a strained relationship, which could, go exactly against what you're indicating that things are improving. So something just seems like all the I's are not dotted and the T's are not crossed. And what I'm most concerned is, how do we fix this going forward? Because this has a significant impact to the way foreign investors look at our island.
Agreed. And so we have to have a follow-up meeting with the Moody's and regarding the downgrade and so forth. And like I mentioned before, once we have either, based on their conclusion also, an alternative financing or agreement with the Netherlands on financing, it will be improved. So we will have a discussion with them sooner or later. And I will even mention the petition. I will inquire on the petition. I don't think that was included in any way in their report or in their findings. Again, this report, this rating happened before the petition even came out. So, but yes, I will keep the country up to date on the discussions with Moody when we do have them, and I look forward to an improved upgrading soon.
Thank you, Minister. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Minister Finance Irian Artwell. Before we move into the second round of questions, Lyndon Brown of the media, can you kindly disconnect and then rejoin us again, and we'll allow you in, okay? So that we can have you visually join us as well. Bibi Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Minister Artwell, good morning. I'm going to ask you this question, despite I'll send some questions to the Prime Minister, because she gave some remarks with her opening statement. But I have to ask you this, Minister, because I know of the sleepless nights, I know of the criticism, I know what you went through last year when trying to secure finances or support for the SSRP for St. Martin. Do you, Minister, feel vindicated now that the Council of State has rejected the COHO? And do you think that, even with the Council of Advice of St. Martin issuing an advice on this, do you feel that, yes, we can really move forward and get liquidity support without having all these instructions and all these things placed on us? For example, the cuts that the Dutch were demanding. Do you feel vindicated, Minister?
Thank you for your question, Ms. Shaw. I believe, I'll say first, the Prime Minister already indicated on the confidentiality of the advice from the Raad van State, the Council of State. So I won't really discuss that, but I would say, and based on what already is in the media, that it's already in line with all of the things that we have been saying for the past few months, the things that I've vocally and verbally said in press briefings, via the media and so forth, the back and forth with the CFT, my lectures that were sent, it's all been documented. And I believe that we've already said, we also as a government, we believe in reforms. I believe that certain reforms have to happen and that it should be together. We should have a better working relationship and not an entity that is infringing on our autonomy and against the Constitution. So I believe, I wouldn't call it vindication. I would say it's basically what we've always been saying. It's, for us, it was a no-brainer that this wasn't the right trajectory. And now I also feel that, that even on the kingdom level, have the Council of State that is also in line with us. So, yes.
Thank you, Minister of Finance. Thank you, Bibi. And now moving forward to Dr. Sack of Island 92. You have the floor.
Good morning. Thank you again, Charity. Minister De Wever, kudos on what, at least in this member of the media's opinion, is a brilliant move with cruise ship being home ported here on St. Martin. I was hoping that maybe you might be able to elaborate in a little more detail for us about the size of the types of economic impact that we might expect from this type of activity? You know, what will be the size of the economic impact that we can expect to see kind of trickle down to the community? Thank you, Minister.
Minister?
Maybe I should just forward the question along. Perhaps the minister had to step out, Charity. So I'll forward along to her.
Okay, good. Also, there you
Jeff,
go.
was that, sorry, Jeff. Yeah, sorry. Good morning, everyone. My apologies. Jeff, you have to, sorry, Dr. Salk, you have to excuse me. Could you please repeat the question?
Sure. By the way, kudos on a tremendous effort with Celebrity and the fact that we're going to have a cruise ship home ported here on St. Martin. This has, as in your words, has endless opportunities for our island. I was hoping that you might be able to elaborate a little bit for our listeners on the size and the type of economic impacts that positive economic impacts that you're expecting from this great news.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Salk. Yes, I actually was hoping that our press conference would have been published already, but I found out that it will be published later on today. The reason I'm so happy about this is because we've been, you always hear people talking about home porting on St. Martin. It has always been on a small scale, and this is actually on a large scale. It will be a boat that can carry about 1,000 crew and over twice as much passengers on it. And if this first plan rolls out, it leads to the opportunity of a second ship within the same year. This has come from hard work over the last 2 months, rebuilding relationships. Am I tired? Yes. Was it worth it? Absolutely. This is exactly what we were hoping for. And, the opportunities are endless. And just as a little going through a list, you can imagine what this means for hotels, especially when we have a new hotel on the horizon, down in Indigo Bay. And as well as our taxi drivers, our tour companies, our restaurants, it's the stores in Phillipsburg. The opportunities are endless, and it gives our island a huge amount of hope because of the fact that everyone has been on pause for the past year. Economies around the world have been suffering for the past year. And I look at this as a jump start. This is the real jumpstart that we have been waiting for, and that's why I am going to continue working to get this second boat in the bag if it all works out well. The crew will be coming in as early as in 10 days. And so one of the things that I want the public to be aware of is that the one request, because I cannot demand and command, the one request that I had in the negotiations was that it would be shared amongst hotels, guest houses, for where they would be staying, giving everyone equal opportunity. It would be shared amongst various tour companies, the big tour bus companies, and definitely for specific routes, it will be using our taxi drivers, our smaller taxi drivers. Now, while we do have to maintain strict protocols for the movement of the crew, they have been sort of comforted in the fact that back in September, October, we had that training rollout that we did with the tourism office and Dr. Gittins preparing the taxi drivers for the transport of their passengers with COVID-19 protocols in place, as well as customer service. So I am excited. You will see that we will be coming out with a lot more press releases and further information on how the entire rollout is going to work. But the whole plan was to do it with everyone and as many people being touched as possible in terms of the economic benefits to it. I hope that answered it. I'm a little bit excited, and I hope everyone is too.
Thank you very much, Minister De Wever and also Jeffrey Saccharin. I'd like now to invite the member of media Mr. Lyndon Brown of BCN TV, thank you for joining us. And I will also be allowing you, Lyndon, 2 questions that you can pose as you missed out on your first 2 before heading into the 3rd round. Lyndon Brown, you have the floor.
Thank you. Good morning to the people of St. Martin and to the ministers that are present here today. Question to the Minister of Roaming. Minister Duran, last week we had a conversation about the lagoon and how much local company will be getting some of the $11 million for cleaning the lagoon. You promised that, you're gonna bring that information to the public.
Good morning again. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for your question. I indicated that I would make contact with NRPB, which I did make contact with NRPB, but they indicated that this company, the company that won the bid, and therefore they cannot say or indicate which companies are gonna benefit from it. So they have to subcontract companies, but the NRPB did not have the information as yet as to which companies are going to be subcontracted. With respect to whether it's trucking and moving stuff and different things, they did not have that information. All they had was the information of the company that won the bid.
Actually, what I was trying to clarify, if you allow me, that so that it can be clear. It can be clear that people figure that, oh, it's only one company. So then the reason why I engage in with you, so that it can be clear to the public that the local company will get jobs also.
I want to reiterate, Mr. Brown, a public tender took place whereby a company won the bid. Therefore, I cannot say or guarantee or indicate which or how much local companies will benefit from it. A public tender took place, which local companies did participate, and based on information that I received, none of the local companies that did participate won in this tender. So therefore, I cannot guarantee or indicate how much or how much in terms of the millions that a contract that is awarded, how much of those millions are going to go in whose company. So I just want that to be very clear so that there's nothing that is misconstrued in what I'm saying. Thank you.
Your second question, Lyndon?
So also the minister gone, but let me engage with Ms. De Wever.
Excuse me, Lyndon, sorry. Minister De Wever just left. So any other questions you'd like to have for her first, or you can also send to her cabinet.
Yeah. Okay, let me engage with the Minister of Finance. Is he there?
Yes, he is present.
Yes, good morning, Minister of Finance. There's still some misunderstanding with the COHO. And the question what I want to ask, the COHO and the condition from the Dutch, is it written in stone? Meaning the government of St. Martin do not have the right to say no, I say yes? Because a lot of time the public usually have their own interpretation. So can you make this clear to the people of St. Martin, Minister of Finance?
Thank you for your question, Mr. Brown. As was already stated by the Prime Minister, the COHO does not exist. And currently, the COHO is a draft law that was sent to the Council of State that happened on starter, an advice that was sent back to the Prime Minister, I believe, last Friday, and then subsequently sent to the ministers. And we are now reviewing, and we will give our feedback and opinion on it. But currently, no, the COHO does not exist, so we are not binded by anything to the COHO.
Thank you, Minister, for addressing the question from Lyndon Brown. We now move into our third and final round. Member of the media, Bibi Shah of SMN News, you have the floor.
Thank you, Charity. Can I get the Minister of Finance again? Minister Ardwell? Minister Ardwell, without going into any specifics of both advices, the Council of State, the Council of Advice on St. Martin, do you anticipate that at some point St. Martin will be able to roll back? And when I say roll back, I'm talking specifically about the cuts that were demanded by the Dutch. Based on what you've seen so far, do you think St. Martin can now say we do not need these cuts or we do not have to comply? And bearing in mind, I know that you did not cut salaries, huh? So I'm talking about the other benefits.
Yes, again, in regards to the advice, I will, in respect to what was already stated before and in respect for the Prime Minister, in regards to the confidentiality of the document, I prefer not to make any mentions to the advice currently. And the Prime Minister even mentioned that by the time the advice actually reached to Parliament, where it has to be debated, and where our Parliament of Aruba, Curacao, even the Netherlands gets an opportunity and I say in it, will be more than likely totally different. So yes, I do look forward in general to the country getting better. I look forward to, and I'm very enthusiastic as much as Dr. Sack for the crews coming on board. And for me, it's even more important that we bounce back as quick as possible. We get our economy up and running as quick as possible. And because at the end of the day, my hope is not to have to depend on external finances at all. So, and with that being said, with that being done, we would on our own be able to decide we don't need any conditions and so forth. So by having our economy back up and running, I'm also advocating for us to get vaccinated, to register, because that's another way of also, and it's the best marketing that we have currently to say, hey, we are fully vaccinated by hurricane season. So I encourage our population to get vaccinated. Also, our brothers and sisters on the friend side to get vaccinated, for those of you who are tuning in, because I understood the numbers there are a little lower, because we can't do this without the other side. And also the importance of being vaccinated is to keep the chances of creating a newer and stronger variant to the minimum. So for me, it's more important. For me, the more important thing is what we are going to do to get our economy back up and running, to not have to depend on external finances.
Thank you, Minister Irian, and thank you, Bibi. Moving forward now with Dr. Sack of Island 92.
Thank you, Charity. Is Minister Panafleck still with us?
Yes, he is.
Minister Panafleck, if I might, I'd love to ask you a question and you can tell me to mind my own business. You are, of course, our Minister of Health, and you have been our biggest cheerleader in a very positive way about doing the right thing during this COVID pandemic. Have you been vaccinated? I'm curious.
Morning, and thank you.
And by all means, tell me to mind my own. That's fine. Thank you, sir.
No, you see, once you're in certain functions, you become a public good. So everybody is allowed to know everything about people in these public functions. No, I did not. And I will tell you, because apparently nobody listened. I like to follow rules and regulations. And at the time, being that I'm not 60, I waited for my turn to be called up. That's how I ever was, and that's how I work. I know that a lot of people ask, and yes, I will make it publicly known when I go and take my vaccine. They can take a picture. I'll see if the can come, and then we will make it live feeding that everybody can see it. And then I hope by the next day, everybody was registered and thing. Because just like you asked, you know, that's part of your job as a media. You ask questions that the public wants to know, and yes, you ask the question. No, I didn't do it. Not. I explain why. When I'm going to do it, I will let everybody know, so you can all come with your cameras, live feeding and film and all those kind of things, so that basically with that everybody will understand then that if the Minister of VSA took it itself, it's safe enough for us to take, and let's go take it. And let me clarify, make use of this opportunity. The Pfizer is the most effective for our seniors. Now, being one that is getting closer and closer to the 60, I don't consider 60 no more seniors. When I was a young boy, 60 used to be, oh, these people are, I will not use that word. But now that I'm getting closer myself, I see that 60 is not so senior. But anyhow, 60 plus. Then we had the ones with the underlying condition from 18 and going up. And now we make the announcement that everybody can go. Why we did that and why did I fight for that is because I know that our Caribbean culture, our island culture is we like to do certain things in family constellation and as a family as whole. I have gone to the communities and there were 60 plusers that told me that they was all for it to go and take it, but then the children influence them not to go forward. So now it's their children's responsibility to go back to your parents of age and make sure to take them along and get vaccinated so we can get the herd immune as fast as possible so that my colleagues of finance and economic affairs can do all those things so that we can open back the island and make some necessary funding so that everybody can have their necessary bread and butter and cheese on the table to live. I hope that I was very clear about this thing. Oh, by the way, as we open up and more people come back, come and register and start getting the vaccination, you have to understand that the demand on vaccines is very high in the world. So if you don't think, if you think from, oh, you know something, I will wait and wait and wait and wait and wait, you might come to the conclusion from when you are ready that you will have to wait then because we are waiting for the batches to continue coming. And that's why we would like the general public, everybody to register so that we can make the necessary calculations so that we can request the batches that they come so that we have continuity of administer the vaccines. I would like to thank you once more, Dr. Zakarin, for the questions so I could give some clarity and explanation to the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. We appreciate it, and thank you for all your hard work.
All right, thank you both. And for the last question, Lyndon Brown, we're pressed for time, so do proceed and bear time in mind. Thank you.
Thank you again. Question to the Minister of Finance. Minister of Finance, the people of St. Martin are hurting again. Now, what the cry in the community about the hiking of the gas price, Minister, it is hurting us very much. Minister, and also they also spoke about the license plate. If you're gonna give a grace period, seeing that we are encountering massive economical crisis, Minister, and I know you, Minister, and I know you are quite reasonable. So these two topics, why, how long that people have to encounter the hiking of the gas price, and will you give, I repeat it, will you give a grace period for the license plate? Thank you, Minister.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Lyndon Brown. First, I'd like to state that the gas prices don't fall under the Ministry of Finance, they fall under the Ministry of TIAD. But I can also state that the gas prices going up and down are not due to just government deciding to go up and down. It's due to the market prices and also the inbound prices that is purchased here on the island. Calculations are made. What can be done, hopefully, and it has been done in the past, is maybe a explainer video to the public or press release from the Ministry of TIAD explaining how and why the gas prices go up and down. That could be a suggestion, but it's not because the minister decided that she wants to punish the population and increase gas prices. No, it's based on calculations and prices and our inbound prices coming in. Secondly, I would like to say in regards to the number plates, the date is set by law, and we are sticking to the date set by the law. In addition to that, I must say that we have had a pretty good turnout so far in regards to the plates. I don't have the exact number right now, but I'm proud to say that the people have come out and purchased their plates on time, and controls will come subsequently.
Thank you, Minister Arian Artwell, and also thank you, Lyndon Brown of BCN TV. Honorable Ministers of the Council, members of the media, online viewers, and radio listeners, this brings us to the end of the live Council of Ministers press briefing for today, Wednesday, March 24th, 2021. For video on demand, log on to the government's Facebook and also on the YouTube channel, Government of St. Martin, Cable TV channel 115. For video on demand, log on to the official Facebook correction. For video on demand, log on to the official government's website at stmartingov.org. I'm Charity Dunker, and on behalf of the Department of Communication and Government of St. Martin, thank you for tuning in and a pleasant day further.